Yeah, I do think he'll get it, and I think it's not a free hit because I think you'd expect a bit more from Manchester United than what we're seeing since he's been in. It's very difficult to come in during the season and not have his pre-season to implement his plans with the team, but he has to look to the future and moving forward. And how can he, firstly, he says win the Premier League, how can he compete to get a bit further up the table? I think that's the next step for them, but ultimately the goal moving forward over the next few years is to try and do that.
You had, sorry Mike, you had a little go, obviously you've had a few goes at management. Ultimately, you can only deal with what you've got as players, isn't it? Isn't it about the talent on the pitch? You can only do so much. Yeah. However much you know the game, however great a player you are, however strong a management are, the best managers are the ones that got the best players.
Yeah, of course, I don't think that's normal, but I think the issue maybe of looking too far ahead is what we're seeing over the last 10, 15 years is managers are not getting that time. No. So you have to be a little bit selfish as a manager and say, okay, if I don't do it now, then I might not get that time, and maybe, you know, I think that is a little bit naive to say we're looking to win the Premier League because from where they are now, they're a long way off that.
Yeah, but you've been inside the club, Man United, obviously a huge club. But what's happened? Why has there been such a fall off? You know, you've been in the dressing room, you've played with the players, you know what it's like to be successful for Man United. How can it go from winning trophy after trophy to then now we're talking about people are talking about relegation battle? You know,
I have no idea. I think since Sir Alex Ferguson left, David Gill left. I think they've tried various different managers, some top managers as well in terms of obviously Mourinho, Van Gaal, David Moyes, very experienced manager. Everyone's been in and tried to get more out the players, out the team, and obviously we're seeing changes off the pitch with Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos coming in, and a lot of speculation of different changes with the staff, with certain things around the club. So I think everyone's a little bit on edge. I think certainly now, but over the last 10 years, there's been a slow decline of the football club, and they just need to try and get some consistency in what they're doing, whether that's with the manager, with the process, recruitment, and how they want to try and move forward. And I think
key, isn't it?
If they get that right, then they will start to get better. But
I think you could even go back to, you talked about when Alex Ferguson left and stuff, but if you look at Liverpool now, they've got a new manager in Arne Slot. And it's testament to how Jurgen Klopp left the club in a really good state.
And the structure above it.
And the structure above is really good. That probably wasn't the case at the end of Sir Alex Ferguson's reign. I know they won the league that season, but it wasn't their best side. And a lot of their players, a lot of their great players, were coming to the very ends of their careers. And then I think from there, they've had problems. The academy wasn't delivering the players that they were before and stuff like that.
But even
knock-on effect.
But they could go and buy the best in class. Because Man United was still a draw because of its success and its history.
But the recruitment's not been good.
The recruitment's been poor, and also now what the problem United have got, and the new manager's PSR. That you can want to get rid of 6 or 7 and bring in 4 or 5, and you might even be able to entice them in. But if you haven't got the capability of doing it financially because of PSR, you're then trying to put this jigsaw together that's really difficult to do.
When you say recruitment, though, Dan, what do you mean by that? Because the players that they've bought in have normally done well. See, Anthony Ajax, he did really well. He's going on loan now. He's doing well. You see McTominay going to Napoli, doing well. And that's why I asked you, alluded to that before. Is it the pressure of Man United that some of the players can't deal with?
Yeah, there's certainly a big pressure, but going back to recruitment, Manchester United have spent a lot of money over the last 10 years. And I think what they've done, the structure hasn't been there because a certain manager has had a long period of time to put that in place, or the club haven't put that structure of what they want in place. So they're buying players, like we see 90 million on Lukaku, on Pogba, all these players coming in as individuals, and it looks like there hasn't been a long-term plan to have this way of playing, this style, this identity of how we want to play. And then we see a new manager come in who wants his own way of playing, like we're seeing now Manchester United going to a back 3. So every time that's starting to move forward a little bit, it gets ripped up again, and because you've got a different style and different philosophy.
Well, you should have